Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of What's Offensive Weekly. I'm one of your hosts, Scott. Jeff's not here right now. He's currently eating donuts in front of a Weight Watchers. I don't know what his deal is, but you know Jeff. So this week we have a really good episode. We have quite a few topics that are highly offensive. I mean, wait till you see. One thing we're going to talk about is the recent and tragic passing of the Cranberries lead singer. And what we're going to talk about is people who found her death to be devastating. Really? We're also going to talk about the NFL and some of the players there. That is also going to mean we're going to be talking about Donald Trump and his offensive things he said about those players who are protesting. And then we're going to finish the whole episode up with Jeff talking about, I've never heard this before, trigger warnings. What in the world? So put on your seatbelt, toughen your skin up. It's What's Offensive Weekly. Welcome everybody to What's Offensive Weekly with your hosts, Scott and
Jeff.
So in this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some of the current events in our society that are going on that people are finding offensive, and we're just going to kind of talk through that. Is it really offensive, or are people just being super hypersensitive, whatever? So, Jeff, what current event do you think you'd like to talk about first?
That's offensive?
That's maybe a hot button topic.
Button topic.
Yeah, that people are getting offended over, or
let's not
something you noticed recently.
Let's steer clear of Trump, because we talked quite a bit about Trump lately, and my I don't like to talk about politics because it's too offensive to people.
But won't we run out of things?
So, no. Well, there's plenty of. Trust me, there was plenty of offensive things before Trump, and there'll be plenty of offensive things after.
You
Trump.
think he'll say things that are going to rub people the wrong way?
He will in the time that he's still in office. He will.
I don't know how likely that is.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. Number one, right off the bat, to get a current topic here, I don't necessarily say this is an offensive topic necessarily, but it's somewhat offensive to me, because last week the singer for the Cranberries died. Okay?
Delores O'Riordan,
yes. And this is my thing. I had many friends on there who were quote unquote sad and devastated. Devastated. I actually saw the words devastated. Yes. That she had died. And my thing is I would love to build a time machine and go back a week and say, do you know the singer for the Cranberries' name? Do you know who that is? And they'll say, no, they just go, zombie. That's all they would do. And yeah, exactly. And now all of a sudden, just because somebody died and there was no other thing really going on in the news, everybody's like, oh my God, I'm so devastated. The singer for the Cranberries died. Well, they're a step above Dexy's Midnight Runners. Okay. They had they're
at least a few steps above that.
I wouldn't even say a few. They had, 2-3 songs. That's pretty much
three solid. And a few others.
Okay, and a few others. They had other songs. I mean, Dexy's Midnight Runners had other songs too, but it doesn't.
But they had one hit.
One hit, yes,
and it was really annoying.
Awesome. I mean,
so
really
awesome. So I saw on Facebook you were mentioning Right Said Fred. I'm too sexy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
so you equate the Cranberries to Right Said Fred.
I equate the Cranberries to a slight step above Right Said Fred.
Okay.
A slight step.
That's fair.
I mean, you like all your bands, your YouTube.
I really do.
Your John Cougar Mellencamp, your all, and I understand that they have many hits. I recognize. Well, I'm not a fan necessarily, but I like John Cougar Mellencamp. But you and I hate to equate somebody just by how popular they are, how many times their songs play on the radio. But it's just. But I think the level of anguish should be somewhat proportional to something like that. And my point being is that if the singer for Dexy's Midnight Runners died, no one, I guarantee right now, no one knows his fucking name besides you, because you're.
I don't know, but he did die.
He did.
I'm kidding.
Okay,
I don't even know.
But let's say he died right now. I imagine people would be like, "Oh my God, I am so devastated." John,
if they were saying it sarcastically, I could see it. But I will be the most shocked person in the world if there anyone except his mother who says, "I'm so devastated."
Well, maybe not Dexy's Midnight Runners, but another okay, you know what song I like? This is my guilty pleasure song. Is Unbelievable by EMF.
Oh yeah,
unbelievable. I love it. Oh, what the fuck? That's a great song. Okay, it's great. The guy dies. I don't give a fuck. I don't care at all. And I don't know his name. I'll never know his name unless he dies. And I guarantee you, when he dies, somebody's going to go, "Oh my God!" You know who I almost equate Cranberries to like Ace of Base. Okay, no one gives a shit about them anymore. They had some hits back in the day, but when Ace of Base dies, whoever's saying, "Oh my God, that sucks so bad."
All right, let me try and make an argument, a distinction. Okay.
Okay.
I believe that there is a artistical difference between the Cranberries and Dexy's Midnight Runner or Ace of Base. Now, if all we want to do is look at, and if our mark needs to be popularity, then you're right. But I think that artistically, these bands are trying to accomplish different things. They're all trying to sell records. They're all trying to make careers out of it, but they're going at it in different ways. Right Said Fred. I am too sexy for my. They're not trying to end world hunger. They're not trying to do,
who is trying to end world hunger besides Bono?
Bono and probably Coldplay and
Coldplay.
Maybe
oh my God,
Fleetwood Mac and
Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, they're trying. I'm just throwing that out there. George Michael did. He was trying to, and not necessarily not world hunger, but AIDS relief and things like that. George was he did not. That is an allegation, sir. And oh my gosh,
did they finally bury him?
Yeah, he is.
Good.
It took a long time, Jeff.
Yeah, I know that. You were pretty upset about that.
Yeah, so devastating. So I could see someone more likely being devastated because of the Cranberries than Dexy's Midnight Runner or Right Said Fred, because their music, the messages I think they were putting out, I could see as being more personalized or being more meaningful to you as an individual. Like,
what did the song Zombie mean?
Oh, I don't know.
Exactly. But nobody fucking knows. But it was called Zombie.
No. I bet you and I could look at it and we could see that there's actually something to it, though.
You could probably look at it and see that there's something to Come On Eileen, besides a porn title.
Yes, I'm sure that you could. But I think as it's received by the masses, I think that the Cranberries stuff has the more potential to be more personal to people than I'm Too Sexy. Therefore, a Cranberries fan being more devastated is more likely than Right Said Fred.
Were there really Cranberry fans?
I was a Cranberries fan for those two records. I actually, dude, I went and saw them at Blossom.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. Toad the Wet Sprocket was opening. Now, there's somebody I'd be devastated. I don't know if I'd be devastated. I want to reserve that word. I reserve that for Titanic or 9/11.
Okay,
or for
Leonardo DiCaprio,
or a person in my family being injured. That's where I'm devastated. Like I stopped eating and drinking. That's devastated.
Heartbroken.
Heartbroken is probably a little bit closer. Yeah. Okay. So I can't even say I was devastated by George
Michael.
Michael.
Can you name me one person in Toad the Wet Sprocket besides? Don't say Toad. I don't even know what the fucking guy's name is. Can you tell me one person's name in Toad the Wet Sprocket?
I can probably name all four. I've met them. I was on their tour bus. They weren't on with me.
Holy they were not.
Glenn Phillips, Dean Dinning, Randy Gus, and Todd Nichols. That's the band, Toad Wet Sprocket.
Wow, you're way gayer than I ever thought.
They're not gay.
Okay. No, I didn't say they are. I said you are.
So they opened for the Cranberries.
The Raspberries.
Yeah. So I drove out there. To see them.
Okay.
So I didn't stay really for the Cranberries afterwards. I came to see Toad. They opened, and the show was over, and I left. Hootie and the Blowfish was the night before. Hootie, and I think Hootie was by themselves. Anyway, it was night to night. I was at Blossom, and actually, I think it was the second night. The bass player for Toad the Wet Sprocket was walking out in the actual pavilion Like he was walking out to talk to the sound guys.
Oh
okay?
my God, the bass player for Toad the
and let me
Wet
tell you
Sprout.
something. And he was safe to do that because no one knew who he was except me. And I'm like, hey. And so he talked to me for a moment or two. But I met them at Kent Stage. Like I have their autographs. Like it's somewhere here in the house.
I'm sorry.
So I've met them. Anyway, I guess
that was a bad example.
It was, yeah. When you started asking it, I'm like, yeah, this is not going to go the way you wanted it to go. But
I should have known.
The Cranberries. Let me stop and think what I want to say. My biggest musical influences and the bands I'm the most fond of would be George Michael and U2. I still would probably never use the word devastated if Bono died or when George died. I was definitely more heartbroken than I expected to be when George died. But devastated, that's overreaching.
Okay.
But I certainly wouldn't use. I would certainly never feel heartbroken or devastated because of Right Said Fred or Hanson or
You watch your
Nickelback.
fucking mouth about it.
There's a lot of bands that don't mean anything to me emotionally or anything.
I understand that, but everybody. I know this is a like super unpopular opinion. I trust me, I love to rip on Nickelback and everything.
Yeah,
but they're not as bad as everybody makes them out to be.
No, sure.
They're
just very produced.
They're very produced. They're super generic and everything. But I actually have listened to their album, and there's other songs on there that are fairly heavy. That aren't radio songs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I could halfway see. They've had a ton of hits, and like it or not, when you think back to the last 10 years or whatever, when you're older, everybody's going to think of fucking Nickelback songs. I'm saying, that's just a sad reality. But I don't see anybody being. Do you think most people know that Chad Kroeger is a singer from Nickelback?
No.
Yeah.
And I make fun of Nickelback. Everybody does. It's an easy thing.
Sure.
So, do you feel like did you kind of go after some people?
No, I didn't necessarily go after. I do my Friday thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay. And so every Friday on my Facebook page, I do Friday thoughts, and it's 10 different random thoughts that I have in my head. And I forget where I was going.
Well, I was asking you about did you get offended? Were you going after people when they were saying people. They were devastated by her death?
My bad. Yeah. It was so I've learned that I don't necessarily, I try not to anyway, like comment on a lot of people on people's stuff if I'm being snarky or whatever, because they people get pissed and offended or whatever and all that. So even if I am just clearly joking, again, it's the internet, so it's hard to see the tone of voice and and whatever. True. And all that stuff. So it's just hard. So a lot of times I'll get my digs in with Friday thoughts, and I'll make like a little note or whatever, and it'll be like one of my Friday thoughts, and it'll be about something that happened, before. But I kind of like, just to kind of get that out. I'm one of these people. I just got to get it out somehow, and whatever, say however I feel. So, it's just a bunch of random things. So I found that through the years, if I were to make one post about like a certain thing like that, like a Cranberry thing or whatever, and like really rip on somebody or whatever at that time, people know it's about them. They get pissed, they get offended, whatever. And then it just starts even more. Whereas when you just tell people 10 random things and some are offensive, some aren't, and then it's easier for them to swallow, and I've still got it out there to them, but it's, I'm giving away too many of my secrets right now, but nonetheless,
But they're less prone to bite, so to speak, or to start a huge argument.
To start a huge argument, exactly. And like a lot of people will, comment on my Friday thoughts, and which I love, and they'll go like, Number one, 6, I disagree, or whatever, or agree, or you're wrong, or whatever. But it doesn't. And that's fine. I can deal with that. It doesn't turn into a whole big argument. That's fine. And sometimes every once in a while it'll turn into something, but for the most part it doesn't. And I've noticed, a lot of people will only comment on anything that I post on the Friday Thoughts just when they're pissed, or not even necessarily Friday Thoughts. I mean, I'll post random thoughts every so often too, and they only comment when they're mad about something, not not good. They don't click like, they don't know anything when it's good or it's a pretty picture or whatever. But only when fucking you say something about somebody's pit bull, oh man, and all of a sudden, that opens doors, and I always contend that, like, these people with the going back to the previous program, these people with their pit bulls, you'd have an easier time telling people that their kids are assholes rather than their dogs are assholes. And I don't even mean pit bulls, I just mean dogs. I mean, it's just anything. That's what I want to do that. I'd love to do like some sort of experiment one day where I just go, you right now who's reading this, your kid is an asshole, and see what people say. And then I'm going to do another one and say, hey, your dog is an asshole. And people, I guarantee you, people will be more upset about their dogs. I don't even know their dogs. I don't even know their kids, but
yeah. I don't just try to go around offending people. Okay. Mm-hmm. But I can recall there was this a woman that I worked with many years ago, and she was at this point where I said, if a dog and a human were drowning in a pond, who would you save?
Okay.
And she said, I'd save the dog.
I knew it. Yep.
And that offends me.
I hear you.
Okay.
Look, I love animals more than anybody. I have 5 cats. I love cats. I love other people's dogs. I don't necessarily want a dog, but I love other people's dogs. I don't understand that philosophy of, and hey, I'm all for, I do, we do the Brunswick hunt every year. Yeah. It benefits Kitten Crazy and Medina, which is, it's awesome. I love to help out, do all that stuff and everything. But I put human lives above animal lives. Yes.
And when I pressed her on this, it was almost like, well, people are assholes, but these dogs are not. And okay.
Unless it's a pit bull and it's going to maul your face off.
Before she can get it to shore, it takes her down. That's the best part. And
exactly. It gets her to shore and then just eats her rib.
And then you ask her, would you do it again? Yeah, do it again. Blah, 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 blah. And she's gone. Yeah, because there are stupid people. And that's my opinion, that there are stupid people that are like that. Now, clearly she has baggage. She's been hurt by people. And so that paints her conclusion. But my point to her was, when you're right, there are people that are really bad, but that's the thing. When something has the ability when something has great power, it has great power to be great or
with great
good
power
or evil.
Comes great responsibility. Yes. My buddy Stan told me that.
Stan
Lee.
That's exactly right. He's the sexual harasser.
Oh, you motherfucker! Don't even say that.
Sorry,
we're going to talk about that.
He did it.
He did
saw it. I saw it. I was in the room.
Oh my God!
No, but what I want to say is, whereas, so what she's doing is she's saying, I'm going to save the vehicle or the being that has less power, not because it truly is good or bad, but a dog doesn't have the same kind of a potential power that a human does. And so you're saying, I'm going to save the dog because it's never been mean to me. Well, it doesn't have the power to be mean to you. The human does, but with the ability to do good, it also has the ability to do evil. You have to save the human and let the dog die. That's it.
Sure.
I'm not saying that dogs are bad.
I don't see how you could possibly. I mean, in that particular scenario, I can't see how you could. I mean, people say that, but I don't know if they actually believe that. Like, if
all right, let's test it.
Exactly right. You're there, and you can throw a life preserver to one person, or one animal or whatever, the dog or the person's going, help me please, and the dog's going, woof.
Okay. And probably swimming away from the freaking life preserver, right? Because it's so dumb.
Or growling at you or something.
Or it ever happened, you're driving across the road and the thing runs out and it stops halfway, and then it continues to run into your path.
Sure.
Like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You deserve to die.
Exactly.
You deserve to die.
Right. It's like eating Tide Pods.
Yeah.
You deserve to die.
All right. So what is it you want to talk about? When I said, I mentioned something just 30 seconds ago. You're like, I've got to talk about that.
Tide Pods?
No.
Oh.
I was talking about...
Cranberries.
No. It was like seconds ago.
Oh.
When I talked about... We could edit this out.
Okay. Edit this out.
You hear that?
Yeah. What is that?
George Michael. Voiced like an angel.
That's him?
And see, the thing is, you said, like, I like Michael Bublé.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's stuff that George did that is just like Bublé.
Have you ever listened to Mike Patton? You know
Yeah.
who that is? Okay.
Faith No More?
Yeah. No, have you ever listened to like other stuff that he's done?
No.
He did a whole thing with where he's
Opera?
Where like with an orchestra, and he sings in Italian.
In Italian?
Italian.
It's the way you said that just tells me you're a racist. But go ahead.
Yeah, right. He sings like
in an Italian.
Yeah. Like it's some sort of other like Latin or some, I don't know, some sort of other language and everything. It's amazing. Just look it up on YouTube. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you talk about George Michael, I mean, dude, this isn't exactly what I envision. I envision shaking
Wake me up
asses
before you go.
Yeah, and you got to have faith, you know, which is
Did you listen? I don't think anybody did, but I'm going to ask you. Did you read when I gave that top 10 countdown of
Oh God, no! I just scrolled right through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's unfortunate.
And that's another thing. Like, see, like that, for instance. Like, and I know it's not nice. I say anything.
I believe most people did exactly what you did too.
And I honestly, I did read like because I wanted to see what the first one was, or whatever. Your number one song, or whatever. And I think the last couple, but like I wanted to make funny comments, but I'm like, you know what, this poor guy, like he already likes George Michael, so I mean, he's already got problems in his life, so I didn't want to add to it or anything. So
I was open to anything.
But I honestly, it's hard. I mean, like I can make a funny comment about all kinds of shit, but it's like, at a certain point, I don't. It's like there's this meme that I'm gonna post here soon. It's it said which one, where people are like, day 1, you are funny, I like you. Day 10, is everything a fucking joke to you? And that's a story of my life, like people are always like, oh, you're funny and everything, except for when you pick on me, or except when you say something to me, or when I love it when you tell the truth, Jeff. I love it when you're honest about all this stuff, except when it's about pit bulls.
Correct.
Or about Trump or whatever, whatever.
This is where this is where we all have to. I really believe all of us have to improve in that. You've been to the Christmas Groove before, yes?
No.
Okay. So you are familiar with the Christmas Groove.
Yeah, no. I've seen video of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Christmas Groove, you can look at it on YouTube. It is this annual benefit concert that some friends and I put on every year. It's all Christmas songs and things like that. And every year the congregation or the audience gives money and it goes to a specific beneficiary. Well, 2 years ago.
This year it's the Scott Rourke Foundation.
No. 2 years ago, before the election, we always have this one bit where we basically do silly songs, or we make a song up. It's a parody, like Weird Al or whatever. We're going to do something to Uptown Funk, and I write Uptown Trump. Okay, and the lyric goes like this.
No, sing it.
I'm not going to sing it.
Sweet angel voice.
You can Google it, Uptown Trump on YouTube, Christmas Groove, because there's a few of them that came out after ours. Ours was the original. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But the lyric goes something like this. Hillary is ice cold and Bernie's looking just too old. Chris Christie has 2 names, both first names. What's up with that? That's the lyric. And then it's a Carson.
Johnny.
No.
Ben.
I'm listing the other candidates. Something Carson, Carly, don't forget Little Jebby. And it has a Jeb Bush dressed as Little Debbie. Okay. Don't forget Little Jebby. Okay. Mark Rubio's out of control. Ted Cruz is just not pretty. That's the line. All right. And then it says, but I'm hot, so hot. And the whole thing is about Donald Trump. And so there's a PowerPoint slide behind.
This is the part I saw. My wife taped this for me to show me because she thought it was so funny. Yeah.
And there's all these pictures of Donald Trump with his hair all over the place. And there's him next to a cat that looks just like him, or all that kind of stuff. People got up and walked out of the show. People got up and walked out of the show. They were so offended. Okay?
Okay.
I voted for Trump.
Okay.
In this video, it starts off mocking Hillary is ice cold and Bernie's looking just so old.
But see, that's my reaction. Like, I don't know how to feel about this because was it pro-Trump people or anti-Trump people? Because it could go any way, either way. You know what I mean?
Yes, but no. They were pro-Trump. They're pro-Trump. And so they walked out. The next year, we play this game. Remember Mad Libs when you were a kid?
Sure.
Give an adjective. Da. So I'm going around the audience. Name an annoying celebrity. Trump. A kid, a child answers Trump.
Okay.
People got up because the congregation, because the audience laughed. And so my perspective is, as a person who voted for Trump, if you cannot, it's not right that the only person we can make fun of is Barack Obama. It's not right. If you have to be able, if you can poke fun and you can see all the flaws in that candidate, you have to be able to look at your own candidate and acknowledge it. And if you can't, then you're part of the problem.
You're party blind if you can't do that. Yes, absolutely. I totally agree.
And that just infuriates
me.
But
that's another thing though that really gets under my skin. That if this offends me, I'll tell you that because I argue with these people all the time. You know, liberals, whatever, about Trump and everything. And if you want to talk about policies, you want to talk about, whatever, all this stuff, that's fine. That's one thing. But when they start going, oh, well, he has small hands. And, my favorite is he's a big Cheeto. He's an orange Cheeto. He's this, he's that, and everything. And these are the same people who sit there and go, well, you're racist if you make fun of Barack Obama. Or you talk about the color of somebody's skin. And then I'll say, well, you're talking about the color of somebody's skin. This is what I'll tell. This is what the back and forth always is. Well, you're talking about somebody's skin color. Well, he means to do that. That's intentional to him because he's tanning. How do you know that? You can tell. How do you know that though? Because there is a disease called keratosis or keratonin, which makes your skin an orange color.
Does it leave the whites of your eyes?
I don't know if it leaves the whites. It might, But nonetheless, this is my point, though. You don't know for sure, definitively, that that's the problem. Yeah. So, in essence, you are making fun of somebody for their skin color that they could possibly not have any control over.
Certainly the size of his hands.
Certainly the size of his hands.
Yeah, he doesn't have any control over that.
You do not have control over that. And now the media is all about his weight and everything, being overweight and all this stuff. Again... Yeah, okay.
Maybe he has a condition.
Maybe, you have control over your weight and everything. But again, these are the same people who will tell you, oh, you don't make fun of somebody because of the way they look, the way they act, blah, blah, blah. They're all the bleeding heart liberals and everything. Yeah. And they're right. I mean, you shouldn't make fun of somebody like that. The exact same way nobody should have been being made fun of Obama's ears. They would always draw those like really big and over exaggeration of a caricature drawing is slightly different than making fun of flat out making fun of somebody's ears, just whatever.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand that. I can't understand that. Wrap my head around the hypocrisy of that, where people are making fun of all these things. It's okay because Trump is in the KKK.
Yes. There's a justification. And, they justify it listen. There are people that hate Trump so much that they just feel like the normal rules of what you can do don't apply to him.
Well, and they also say, well, he makes fun of everybody else. Well, is that what you teach your kid? Is that what you teach them?
When they go low, we go high.
Exactly.
And I heard it that one day, and I've never seen it again.
Right.
I've never seen anybody living up to that. And that goes on both sides.
Sure.
Listen, this is not a guy here who thinks that Republicans are perfect and Democrats are the devil. No, you got idiots on both sides of the aisle.
Absolutely. Yes. And you without a doubt, you need both sides because, one side isn't totally right for sure. I understand. But a half an hour ago, we said we weren't going to talk about Trump. And here we are. It all goes back to Trump. So the fact of the matter is that what we're learning through this whole new podcast of ours is that the most offensive thing and controversial thing is Trump.
It's huge. It is a huge topic right now.
Obviously.
And as we said earlier, if he would stop
tweeting,
he just gives them fuel. He really does.
Yeah.
This
is my thing. And this is, God, I'm really kind of getting a little too personal here with myself, but I don't handle conflict well. Okay. And like if we got in an argument right now, like a really flat out argument, you know, and everything, and I like left out of anger, or you know, kicked me out or whatever the case may be. Like, honestly, like I wouldn't sleep well tonight. Okay. It would bother me.
I bet that surprises some people to hear that.
It does. I'm sure it does. It really does bother me. And again, with certain things, it's with people I know, you know what I mean? Like I know you, your friend. It's different than a person just online, random asshole on the internet or whatever.
Correct.
You know, but like, I think Trump is like the exact opposite of that. Like he needs that in his life, like some sort of conflict or turmoil or something. He's constantly needs I don't know if it's the attention or what. Yeah. He feeds off of that. And like it part of another reason I laugh about it is because I cannot even comprehend it. Like not that I try to tiptoe around and everything, and I don't really care if I find, but I'm talking like actual conflict. You know what I mean? Like arguing, like face to face type of thing. Internet is kind of different too. You know what I mean? Yeah. But he's very he loves that stuff. It's like as soon as it starts to die down and you think it's okay, then he starts up again.
Correct.
And it really is like he needs it in his life.
A perfect example of that was, I think, the NFL protests. I think they were, it was over. Like last year, Colin Kaepernick, he wasn't even signed up. It wasn't an issue. Right. And he makes his comment on Twitter. And I think I responded, well, every guy in the NFL now is going to, even though we weren't even thinking about it, now they're going to protest again. And in fact, after he made that comment, what I told people is the next weekend when they had more protests, more people kneeling than ever before, they're not protesting whatever their social issue is. Now they're protesting you, Mr. President.
Right.
It's no longer about that anymore.
Right.
If he just shut his mouth.
I agree. And especially with something like that, with the NFL and everything. I mean, concentrate on the country. There's plenty of other things to think about rather than what's going on in the NFL. That's number one. So just shut up about that.
Yep.
And on that same note, I still don't watch the NFL. I won't. It made me realize, like, I'm like, these guys are just using their platform just to speak like that. And I understand if people do, hey, that's fine or whatever. I'm just saying, I mean, trust me, it doesn't help that, that my team went 0-16. So, I mean, that kind of, makes a difference too. But honestly, like, I don't think I'll watch the Super Bowl this year. And this is the first year since I can ever remember not doing it. And it's, they're just, everybody said, well, they're the overpaid athletes and everything. And they are overpaid, but in the same respect that it gets a lot of money. The NFL gets a lot of money. If the owners kept all the money, then everybody'd be like, oh, they're just rich, hoarding bastards. It's like, well, they are giving it to these people, who help make the sport what it is and everything. But
they're paid what society dictates their worth.
Absolutely. It's capitalism.
Yep. The only screech, he may have been overpaid.
Saved by the Bell?
Yes.
Watch your fucking mouth.
But beyond that, no, these guys, you're absolutely right. I mean, I can't say that they're overpaid. They're paid what society has said. We are willing to spend all this money for this kind of stuff. The money is sitting there. It's in the coffers, and it's going to go. So they're not overpaid. What it really says,
they're overpaid compared to what we do for a living compared to them. But
it's an indictment on us.
Sure,
because as a society, we're willing to pay. This guy runs around in tights, catching a football. He's not curing cancer.
Right.
He's not ending world hunger.
Neither is George Michael.
Yeah. He's helping with AIDS, but not with the spread of AIDS. But
not now.
No, he's not now. But maybe he still is with his family and his money.
Oh,
anyway,
good point. Yeah.
All right. There you have it. Another episode of What's Offensive Weekly. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.